Well, I was gonna make a gameplay video on the new Wake Island map, but I simply don't enjoy it after the new update. Tons of performance issues, and of course the new time to kill really ruins the experience for me. I'm gonna be honest with you, looks like the only thing that Battlefield 5 is good at right now are cool details. So that's what we're gonna take a look at in this video. Luckily, the new Wake Island map does have some cool, interesting and new details to show. It's been a while since I've done these anyway, so let's get right into it. First off, I want to show you guys the thank you flag on the new Wake Island map. For the people who haven't seen it yet, it can be found at the most southeast point of the map. And it simply says, to those who fought here in 1942, Battlefield 2, 2142, Battlefield 1943, Battlefield 3 and now in Battlefield 5, we are grateful. DICE. With the image of the Wake Island map layout at the top. So I mean, that's kinda nice. I mean, I wish they would just revert the time to kill patch as a thank you instead, but you know, whatever. You can also see a crab in front of this plaque, which is part of an Easter egg I'm sure, which I'm not gonna show you in this video because I'm too lazy for that. And this crab is indestructible, trust me, I tried. Next to this plaque you can build a snowman, because why not? And when you finish building it, you can hear this little jingle. Yes, that's right, I am making a video about a jingle sound effect that occurs when building a snowman in a first-person shooter video game. Moving on, there are more details to be discovered on this new map. Let's take a look at a rather small overlooked detail, which is the fact that the Americans are the ones assaulting the island whilst the Japanese are defending it in Battlefield 5, while in real life it was the other way around. That's pretty interesting, probably because they couldn't be bothered with making amphibious transport vehicles for the Japanese forces. Anyway, on Wake Island there are also several coconuts. So there we go, we got a new prop in this game, and they gave it a wooden sound effect when you hit it. Interesting. There are also several coconuts in this building, and when you shoot them, the table in front of you will have some sort of a Dungeons and Dragons like board game all of a sudden, and also a toy dinosaur, which is obviously a reoccurring thing in the Battlefield franchise. This is probably also part of an Easter egg, but again, I'm not gonna show you that right now. On the map you also have these new storage bunkers that have a lot of explosives in them. Obviously, explosives can explode, and in this case, the explosion is rather big. Take a look.
Fuse is lit. Bomb is counting down.
In fact, if you're standing too close, you'll be thrown off your feet like with a V1 rocket, so that's pretty cool. Also, since the Pacific update, you can now build a new type of roadblock to stop enemy tanks from getting through. On other maps they looked like this, made out of metal, and you could build them with some sort of a wrench tool. On the Pacific maps, these types of roadblocks are basically giant pieces of concrete, and instead of building them with a wrench of some sort, you actually construct them with a trowel. And that's definitely not a word that I looked up in Google Translate. No, but honestly, that's pretty cool. For each type of fortification you have a different tool to build it. For metal fortifications you have this wrench tool, for concrete blocks you have this trowel, for wooden things you have your hammer, etc, etc. That's pretty cool. Also, have you guys seen the Game Awards yesterday? What do you think of the new Xbox? It's called Xbox Series X, and it looks like a fridge. And what about the new Fast and Furious game?
You ready to ride?
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
That's so ridiculous. Anyway, let's continue with some other amazing details in this amazing game. Am I too passive aggressive here, guys? Another cool detail can be seen when looking up in the sky. In the distance you can see a naval fleet, you know, just sitting there. But above them there is a fierce dogfight going on with Japanese airplanes versus American airplanes. You can see it even better in the spectator mode. Another detail that is unique to the Pacific is the fact that the steering wheel on the Japanese vehicles is on the right side. Normally, in the US for example, the steering wheel is on the left side of the vehicle. In Japan it's the other way around, and they got that right in Battlefield 5. Would be kind of embarrassing if they didn't though, so yeah. Also, the American flag in Battlefield 5 has 48 stars on it, instead of the 50 you see today. That's because back in World War II they didn't have 50 states yet, so that's accurately represented in this game. This is not totally new, by the way, because this was also in Battlefield 1 and I covered this like 2 years ago, but still it's cool to see this attention to detail still remaining. Now, before we move away from the Pacific, here are a couple more details to show. So let's say you spawn in as the US forces and accidentally you fall off the boat. Well, good news, instead of swimming around the entire ship to get back on or swimming for like 20 minutes to get to the shore, you can just grab these nets to climb back on board, just like a ladder. Yes, the animation doesn't properly align with the ropes, but hey, it's better than nothing, I suppose. Now let me show you the detail that I am referring to in the thumbnail. This is probably the craziest detail I've seen so far in any Battlefield. Yes, in Battlefield 1 we had some crazy obscure details, but this specific one in Battlefield 5 is just next level. So obviously it's about the Liberator pistol, a single shot last ditch effort pistol that comes in a very small package. As most of you know, the reloading animation for the Liberator pistol is pretty cool in itself. You can see your soldier ejecting out the empty casing and inserting a new one. This new round is stored inside of the pistol grip. Now here comes the crazy part, and I'm pretty sure this is newly added with the 5.2 update, so I guess the update wasn't total trash. Anyway, someone on Twitter DM'd me and told me to grab the Liberator pistol and inspect it. For the people who don't know, you can now inspect your weapon in-game, which is pretty cool. Anyway, once you inspect your Liberator pistol and then shake your camera around, you can actually hear the cartridge inside the pistol grip, like shaking around. Take a listen. I'm sorry, but that has got to be one of the craziest hidden obscure details I've ever seen in any video game. This is so obscure. This is, in my opinion, on par with this audio detail from back in Battlefield 1, if you remember. This is the sound of rain falling on these empty brass shells. And you can only hear this in Battlefield 1 when it's raining, obviously, and when you are literally on top of this pile. So totally unnecessary and obscure and hidden, but pretty freaking cool. Just like this new detail in Battlefield 5. Because like I said, almost nobody will see this. Nobody will use the Liberator pistol, let alone inspect it in a quiet environment and then wiggle around so you can accidentally hear this sound effect. That's pretty amazing. Now for the last couple of gun details before we end the video. Of course, if you know any cool details that you want me to cover, be sure to follow me on Twitter, link is down below, and tweet me what you found. Anyway, for the last two details we're gonna take a look at the Beretta, the worst gun in the game, and the Type 100 SMG, the best gun in the game, at least in my opinion. A really cool visual detail can be seen with the Beretta's magazine, because it's so open, you can clearly see the remaining rounds in the magazine, and of course in Battlefield fashion, the actual remaining rounds can be seen if you fire it. So if you shoot a couple of rounds and then reload, you can see it has less rounds in the magazine than before. And finally, this is one you all wanted me to cover, so here we go. In my previous Battlefield vs Call of Duty details comparison, I said that in Modern Warfare you have this cool detail where if you haven't fired all rounds from out of your weapon and then perform a reload, you can actually see your soldier keeping the magazine on him instead of throwing it away when the magazine is empty. This wasn't the case in Battlefield 5 until the Pacific update, because with the Type 100 SMG, which came with the Pacific update, this is now also the case. If you fire all rounds, you can see your soldier, just let the magazine fall on the ground. You can just discard it. But if it still has some rounds left, you actually keep the magazine on you, which like I said is a pretty cool touch, just like in Modern Warfare, and you can also see that there are actual remaining rounds. However, you can see two. So I tested out if you would only see one if you fired all remaining rounds but one from your weapon, but unfortunately that doesn't seem to be the case. oh well, you can't have everything. Anyway guys, that's about it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you want to see more of these types of videos. Subscribe if you haven't already. And with that being said, I see you guys next time.